Hey yo, this is Raven Boy Wonder here, and I know I haven't made a video in a long time, but when your team loses the way they do or did in the AFC Championship, you won't want to make a video. Fucking Billy Cundiff. That's all I could say. And Lee Evans, you too. But I'm here to talk about the draft. This is uh an event that's coming up next week. Big opportunity for the Ravens to improve their team. Um, Positions the Ravens need, really need: offensive interior lineman help at the center and guard position, linebacker, specifically middle linebacker, outside linebacker could be a thing the Ravens are looking at. So I'll put that in there. Safety, and that's practically about it. Wide receiver, if I didn't say wide receiver. So offensive line, middle linebacker slash outside linebacker, wide receiver, and safety. Those are positions the Ravens really probably going to be looking at to address in this draft. Uh, let's start off with offensive line. The Ravens have been linked to Peter Kuntz, the center slash could be guard for the Ravens in this year's draft. He's a solid player. I wouldn't mind the Ravens drafting him in the first round. His counterpart, the left guard, it starts with a Z. I can't remember his name. Sorry, but he could be also a guy the Ravens look at. I don't think he'll end up that deep in the area where the Ravens are drafting at. So um, he's probably offense, but he's a good guard. Cordy Glenn from Georgia. He's another good player that's most likely in the NFL is going to be put into the guard position because I think he was a tackle in Georgia. So since our offensive line, I think the Ravens are probably going to be looking at offensive linemen, middle linebacker, outside linebacker position. There's a couple of guys that could really play the outside linebacker position. Upshaw is one of them. I've heard that he can play middle linebacker, but I don't think that if he does play 3-4, I don't think he will go to middle linebacker. He's most likely going to stay at that outside linebacker position. Excuse me. All right. Another player. Let me pull this up real here. Is Chandler? I think I said Chandler Jones already. If I didn't, Chandler Jones, Nick Perry. No. This, what's his name? Wheatley. I think that's his name. Uh, Excuse me. Mm, Andre Branch. There we go. Andre Branch. And that's probably about it right now. Those are guys that the Ravens are probably going to look at in this year's NFL draft. Most likely, if they're going to draft a guy outside linebacker, I would say Courtney Upshaw. Um, he's a really solid player if you look at him. Uh, but that's the only problem because he is only a solid player. That's what worries a lot of scouts. Um, Branch is another. I like Branch. I like Chandler Jones a lot. Chandler Jones is a lengthy guy, and he's also Arthur Jones's brother, who plays for Baltimore Ravens. So that would be a good pickup if the Ravens did get Chandler Jones, because now you got brothers playing. They're going to be playing on the same side of the defense. So that would be another position the Ravens will look at, or another player that the Ravens will look at. Middle linebacker, Michael Kendricks from Cal. He spells Michael wrong, not wrong, but differently. Um, the Cal middle linebacker. I'm just gonna say that. Uh, Hightower, Burfict. Those three linebackers I like a lot. Burfict third before he was number one, but then after I heard about his off the field issues, he's now my third middle linebacker because he has had a lot of off the field issues. And if you watch some tape of him, he struggles to get off blocks. But other than that, when he's not touched and not causing off the field issues, he's a monster. Um, But Hightower is the guy that the Ravens have been strongly linked, and I like Hightower. Again, he's like Upshaw. He's solid, and that's the only thing. He's solid. But to me, I feel like he can. He when he gets, I feel like he will be great. He will be a great player, and if the Ravens draft him, then that would be a great thing because now we will have an heir apparent to Ray Lewis. Not that not a that Jameel McClain isn't an heir apparent to Ray Lewis because I really like Jameel McClain too, but drafting a guy, drafting middle linebacker in Hightower in the first round, that means he's gonna be the heir apparent. Uh, so Jamil Hightower would be another middle linebacker that would be good, and like I said, Cal Michael Kendricks, he's a pretty solid player. I like him a lot. I think he's possibly a late second, third round pick player though. That's my knock with him. If you watch the tape, you'll see why. Uh, good at good when he's decent at shutting off blocks. He's a decent tackler. Uh, he's just a decent player. He's a very decent player. Very decent. So he's another guy I think the Ravens will look at. Safety, I've only seen two guys, Mark Barron and Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith to me is a second round pick. He doesn't wow you like Mark Barron does. Mark Barron is, before the draft even started, he was considered a early second round pick type player, and he was linked to the Ravens. But now he's shot up to a top 15 player, so I don't know if the Ravens will pick him. But if he does fall, then that's a good player right there for the Ravens to draft. Harrison Smith, like I said, he's a second round pick. He's nothing. He's not really special. He's if you watch him play, he does everything right. He can actually man up and guard tight ends. But that's the thing to me though. When watching film, he's only just a solid player, and he looks to me like a second round pick, late first rounder. He could be a late first rounder, but that's like kind of making a reach for him. But he's a second round pick. He would be a very good pickup in the second round. And then now wide receiver. Now wide receiver is the dark horse of the key positions. The Ravens do need a third receiver because you got Tandem Dawson there. Now Tandem Dawson was drafted last year in the fifth round, and he was handpicked by Joe Flacco apparently. And when in this season he wasn't really on the field, and when he was on the field he wasn't really doing anything. So the Ravens could look at wide receiver. There are a plethora of good receivers in the late rounds, so it's hard to pick one. I want to say Michael Floyd will be a late first, second round pick, but he's looking like he's moving up on a lot of people's boards. And I really like Michael Floyd because he has actual size, and he has some pretty good hands. So, and AFC Championship game, that's what we need. And it's funny because we lost that way. It's always we pick up guys uh in the off season to play our third receiver, Hushmanzada, Lee Evans, and they fail us, and then they just fail us. And so I think the Ravens, they need to really look at wide receiver and see who can play that slot position. Like I said, there's a plethora of guys. If I had to pick one, hopefully it would be Michael Floyd. He to me is worthy of a first late that 28th, 29th pick that we have. He's really worthy of that spot. Like I said, not anyone else. I know Hill from Georgia Tech is another guy, but I don't want to get into that because Georgia Tech receivers. That's all I'm gonna say. There's only been one, and that's Calvin Johnson. Other than that, I haven't seen any other good Georgia Tech receivers. Demaryius Thomas is decent, but I'm trying to shy away from that whole argument. But yeah, there's a plethora of good receivers in this year's draft. So if the Ravens decide to pick a guy, and hopefully in the third, maybe second round, possibly second round, I don't know. That would be a good thing because the Ravens do need a third/second receiver. Uh, that's about it. I mean, there's nothing else I see the Ravens keying on. Um, Overall, in my overall view, this is my prediction. I feel like the Ravens are going to draft out of the first round and get some more picks and move into the second round, like they did when they drafted Terrence Cody and Sergio Kendall. Um, just this year's draft is really key for the Ravens, and I say this because, in my opinion, the Ravens are going to have to pick. They want to improve defense or they want to improve offense. And I know John Harbaugh has talked a lot about improving this offense, not really much about the defense. Um, and I guess John Harbaugh feels satisfied. Can't say satisfied. I think John Harbaugh feels satisfied with the depth that we have on defense. So than to the offense, because there is some positions off the Ravens need to improve offensively. Running back could be another thing the Ravens look at in the later rounds, though. Um, but other than that, uh, I feel, in my opinion, the Ravens will lean more on offense than defense this year. Maybe I think the Ravens will draft maybe one or two defensive players this year and then work only on offense because the Ravens do need help on offense. Other than that, this is my view of what the Ravens will do this year in the NFL draft. This is Raven Boy Wonder. Next year, hopefully we get this chip. Peace.